and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Today I'm going to show you how to mix colourful greys from a number of different colour combinations. You may be thinking, or you may not, that mixing grey is simple. It's just black and white, right? Well, that is one way to make grey, but it will give you a very limited palette. Remember that there is colour in light, as light is made up of the spectrum of 7 colours. Black only really exists in nature where there is a complete absence of light. So if you are painting from life or a reference photo, there will be colour in your neutrals. You are therefore better off using colourful greys for more realistic painting. The best way to mix grey is to mix together your complementaries plus white. Complementary colours neutralise each other. They sort of knock out the chroma. The addition of white will give you a grey. The great thing about using complementaries as well is they give you an ability to shift your grey in temperature easily. Remember that colours on this side of the colour wheel are warm and colours on this side are cool. Purple and green are transition colours and can be both warm and cool depending upon how much blue you use or how much yellow for green and red for purple you use. So when you are dealing with greys, it is much better to think of it in terms of a warm grey versus a cool grey. I am going to show you some examples of mixing grey. In my first example, I am going to use blue plus orange plus white. I have mixed my orange from yellow and red. I can control how warm my grey is by how much blue I add. Remember, white also will naturally cool a colour down as there is no chroma in white. In my second example, I'm going to mix together a cooler red in Alizarin crimson and Viridian. Notice what a lovely cool grey that gives me. If I had used my Cadmium red instead of Alizarin crimson, my grey would not have been so cool. This is because Cadmium red is a much warmer red. It is more like a vermilion, whereas Alizarin crimson is a much cooler red. Viridian is a cooler bluish green, and white is also cool as well. The result is a much cooler grey. So you really need to think about the colours you are using and ultimately whether you are trying to make a warm grey or a cool grey. In my third example, I am going to mix together a purple using Alizarin crimson plus blue. I am then going to add cadmium yellow and white. This gives me a lovely neutral that is great for using when painting transitions from warm light. Really, you just need to experiment with your colours. You can make less chromatic greys by using much more earthy, muted colours. So in this final example, I am using burnt sienna, which I'd class as red, and Viridian plus white. This gives me a grey not as rich in chroma as my other 3 examples. So just play about with your palette, but remember the rule of always using the complementary colours plus white to make your greys. Finally, I also wanted to show you a little trick for seeing greys, as often it can be quite hard to know what you are looking at. If you are struggling to see the colour of a mid-tone neutral that you are painting, hold a mid-tone grey card up to that object. Ask yourself if the object is warmer or cooler than the subject you are painting. If it is warmer, you will know you will need to mix a warm grey with a heavier leaning of either red, yellow or orange. If it is cooler, you will need to use more blue, purple or perhaps green. If the object you are painting is very light in value, then hold up a white card and ask yourself exactly the same question. This little trick, which I use often, should help you identify the colours in your greys. I hope you have found today's video useful and will join me for next week's video. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.